Alright, good evening everybody. Let me transition this over and let's get started on the stream, shall we? Welcome back to OpenTTD, welcome back to the M4J network. First and foremost, you might hear me coughing, clearing my throat throughout the stream. I do still have a bit of a cough and a cold. I wouldn't go as far as to say cold actually, but definitely a cough and, tickly throat and all that kind of thing. So you will have to bear with me with that. Also, my voice does sound a little bit weird today. I don't know what that's all about. I've not been recording much this week, so no idea what that is, but hey ho. Anyway, welcome. That subscriber bar is not up to date. Let me see if I can fix that, because that is actually annoying. Which one is it? That one. Good evening, George. How are you this evening? You will have to bear with me a second while I get this up to date. I think Streamlabs is being a bit slow, because that says 947, whereas according to this, I have 958. So someone's lying. So let me see if I can fix that. Let's see. I want my subscriber goal. What does that come under? What does that come under? Stream labels, view account, subscriber goal. There it is. Let me start a new one. We're going to be building two new connections today, which is very exciting. One of which I've alluded to in the past. The other one is brand new. So I'm really excited by that. Title field is required. Well, I did do that. I don't like Streamlabs sometimes. It really annoys me. Title field is required. I've got one. I've got one. So that's currently disappeared. That's not good. I'm doing okay, thank you. Still a little bit, as I said at the start, got a bit of a cold and a cough still, but besides that, I am good. This page doesn't want to work. Let me refresh. We will get going in a minute, I promise. I just want to get this goal up because I don't like it when things don't work. Okay. Goal amount 1000, starting on 958, and we want it done by 12/31/2019. Start. There it is, and it's not very clear to see, but it is there at least. Cool. Right, we can start. Let's flick over to this and flick over to this. Right, yes, so we are building two new connections. I'm currently over here at Moningpool Falls, which might seem irrelevant to tonight, but actually it's very relevant because Moningpool Falls is kind of the hub of the Western Reaches North line, and it's also got connections with the Coast West line and the Cross Country West line. I can't remember what the Cross Country West line's called now because it has reverted back to its original name. I think it was just the Cross Country West line. That's this one here that runs down this way towards Gronville West. Western Reaches is obviously all this bit here. Cross Country West also terminates at these sets of platforms here. What else? Oh yeah, Coast West is off in this direction. It's technically this line here. No, sorry, it's the set of tunnels. There they are. That run through there, and then it runs north to Sunnington and south towards Preybourne. I'm pressing all the wrong buttons in all the wrong order at the moment. But this is the current depot for the Western Reaches North. I'm in the process still of resetting the Western Reaches North, so I don't actually know if this depot is at capacity yet or not. My guess would be no, because of the number of tracks that we've got here that trains can use. And these sets of tracks, this set of tracks here, sorry, I keep saying these when I mean this set of tracks here, plus this depot here, plus these actual depots here, they all serve trains that go into Guard City. So as you can see, the APTs are here, and some of the double-decker trains would be around somewhere, I'm sure. We're not going to be here for much longer. Western Reaches is the clue I'm going to give you guys. Also, before we start the stream proper, if you are going to ask questions tonight, I would appreciate it if they're not political. I'm so sick and tired of seeing stuff about politics at the moment. So you can ask me about trains, you can ask me about railways, you can ask me about M4J, you can even ask me about XVI if you want, because I'm more than happy to talk about XVI, but for God's sake, do not ask me about government proposals right now, because I think I will actually blow a fuse. That's much appreciated. So, why am I over here? Well, these platforms here at Morningpool Falls currently serve no purpose. No trains currently call here. If we follow the line this way to where it connects up with the west coast, the cross-country west line at this little wide junction here, and then we keep following this down, eventually we hit Gronville West, which is currently served by trains, although no trains are here currently. Where are they? I have stumbled across a problem in recent times of there being too many trains trying to enter GSP, so I've halved the service frequency from once every 15 minutes to once every 30 minutes. So there are less frequent services into GSP. That does also mean there's less frequent services across the rest of the Great Western network. That's fine though, because it frees up capacity for Centre Rail and Cross Country, and also Guard City Southwestern services. Forgot the name then, and that might sound a bit weird. Hang on, Guard City Southwestern, but yes, because if I follow the line up here to Woolworth, you can see we've got these two little plan lines here. If I follow this eastern one, it goes via Rudinghall, and then down through Drenningpool Falls, across the hill there, past Huntfield, and then turns east and goes over to Fort Flonwood Central. What a happy coincidence, we just finished building that last episode. I haven't done speed limits here yet, by the way. I keep meaning to and I keep forgetting because I've been so busy doing XVI stuff. You might also have noticed when we actually redid Fort Flonwood Central, there were two lines here, and I did say at the time that they would be used for storage platforms and sidings, but I've actually changed my mind. This is going to be the connection for this new line that I'm building. It's going to be non-electrified. I am going to have to reconfigure this junction slightly, trying not to move these signals if I can help it. But that's how we're going to connect this up. So very shortly there will be through services between Fort Flonwood Central via Woolworth all the way up to Morningpool Falls. Which also means, once it's done, there will also be through services between Fort Flonwood Parkway and Morningpool Falls via Fort Flonwood Central and Woolworth Central. So that means both legs of the Western Reaches, north and south, will be connected outside of Guard City, which, like the title and the description suggests, is a new connection. It's something that I kind of came up with on the fly yesterday when I was deciding what today's stream was going to be. But I think it will work really, really well. So we're going to get started on this new set of lines here. I'm also going to de-electrify those. We will add a couple of extra crossovers. One there and one there, I think. The idea being, if I had another one there, in fact, so through trains can access the platforms here. And then if I put the signals in like that, then that is pretty much fixed now. And then we can add some extra waypoints along the sides there. Now we're going to delete, I say delete, we're going to just bulldoze a lot of roads here. Reason being is so that we can run some tracks like this. Now I'm trying to decide where I want these tracks to go, and I think the best route will be along here. So if I raise the land up here a little bit, and then do a little bit more bulldozing like that, and then run you to there and you to there, and then we could in theory build a new station here that connects up with this tram stop at Slanting Head. That might work quite well. We'll have to see. I should also, usual disclaimer, it's Thursday night. I have got the football on both of my screens, because not only is it Europa League tonight, it is also the playoffs, the League 2 playoffs, and considering football's been quite exciting this week, I'm sure you'll agree, so I'm very keen to keep half an eye on it at least whilst I'm streaming, so you'll have to bear with me. If there's sudden silences, or if I suddenly leap out of my chair and start saying what a goal, you'll know that something good's just happened on the screen. Wasn't to be for Stevenage this year, sadly. We missed out on the playoffs by a point. Can you believe? But there's always next year. So, no hard feelings. Did you hear about the new expansion pack for Cities Skylines called Campus, which was announced 2 hours ago? I did not hear that, actually. I will have to check that out afterwards. I'd heard rumours that, I mean, the title implies it's to do with university campuses, which I've heard rumours about in the past. I tend to take those with a pinch of salt, though, because a lot of the time it's just people on Reddit who want something, and they want it so bad that they make up a story saying it's true. But if it is actually happening, then that is a bold move, I think, from Colossal Order, because it's not something that I was particularly demanding, so I can't imagine there'll be many other people sort of proactively demanding it. We shall see, though. Some of their past DLCs in recent months have actually been quite good. I think they're at the stage now where they're kind of, I know you said fixing. They're not fixing previous errors, but their DLCs now are adding to existing features rather than creating new ones, which I think is a good thing. It means that they're not giving up on those core aspects of what made the game great when it was first made, which I think is very important. You got to remember, I'm looking at things with a developer's hat on as well now, so trying to see it from both sides. It's good. It'll be good. Might actually get back into playing Skylines again one day, because I do miss it from time to time. I miss Cities in Motion as well, but I think that game technology is kind of past it now, whereas City Skylines is very much still a playable game. Right, I'm just trying to route this line through here, and yes, I know we've done some bulldozing again. I know there's people that don't like me doing that, but I hope you understand why. Should we go for the double hill, or shall we go for the single? I think we can go for the two-step. Let's see. Oh no, we'll have to be a double hill. Yeah, double's fine. Nicely done. And then we can go through this part of town. trying to keep this line as straight as possible, because it is like a wayside branch line essentially, so we're not going to have like 125-mile-an-hour HSTs running through here. But we do want it to be relatively straightforward. So there will be a junction station here at Radeon. Reason being is the line will split in two. Half of it, in fact there might be a double junction here at Runding Hall, thinking about it. Because yeah, one side of the line will curve around this way and connect up to Woolworth from the east, and then the other half will come around this side and connect from the west. And that does mean then, in theory, we can run direct services between GSP and Fort Flonwood, which again I might do. I've not considered it fully, but we could use it. I don't know how easy this will be to implement, but I read a lot of articles now about diversionary routes in the UK. So if routes are under maintenance, or if there's a broken down train that's blocking the line, they use these diversionary routes. So I'm kind of planning that in this network, even though that's not a feature of the game. It's nice to have it anyway, so to be able to run trains, because eventually we are going to head back down towards Munfingford Paragon. I think it's Munfingford. And as part of that, we will have trains running down the old Great Western route, which might become the new Great Western route again. Let me show you what I mean. So over here, through Saddington, and then down this way, around the lake there, and up here to Munfingford Paragon. Bloody hell, my memory's better than I remember it being. That's a contradictory statement if ever I've made one. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so we would be able to run trains between GSP and Munfingford that don't necessarily have to go via Plindham Junction. They could instead divert at Woolworth and head down through Fort Flonwood. It's a thought. It's a thought. It might not work, but it's a thought. Now I'm trying to decide. I like the idea of having the route go through here, but I think here I'm going to have it go into tunnels. Now, how long a tunnel is that, and where does it come out? It comes out there. So that's already past where I've built to, but actually that's not a bad thing. So that saves me a little bit of trouble, because I can now do this. So remove that, and then have that lowered. I think actually I won't have a junction station on this line. I'll just have, because I think Woolworth is the big junction station between east and west. So I think here I'll just have a non-station junction. I think that'll work best. Let me catch up on these comments. It will be released on 21st of May. You'll be able to create your own university, and you are able to specialise it like in industries. That's a really interesting concept. I do kind of feel like they've stepped away from the city building aspect the last few DLCs. They've very much gone for like the micromanaging style, I guess, which, it's fine. It's not my thing, but it's fine. I keep wanting them to improve the mass transit side of things, but they've kind of done that. The only way they can improve it further is to rewrite the code for that bit of the game. Plus, there's a lot of good modders out there that do a very good job. So one of the things I like doing is timetabling, and actually building a service rather than just having vehicles bunching up all the time. And there's some really good mods that do that, so they don't need to do it in the base game. So that's fair enough. They don't need to worry too much about that. What am I doing here? So I think actually I'll have a station here with 4 platforms. 2 will go to the east side and then 2 will go to the west side. I'll kind of build it like this and then connect it with this style of junction. I think that will work really well. I'm trying to think about what other good games are being released this year. There aren't many that immediately spring to mind. GTA 6, I keep hearing rumours that that's going to be next year. I don't think it will be, because I'm pretty sure GTA 5, they announced it well over a year before it was actually released. So if it's going to be released next year, we'd have heard by now. So I'm not sure about that. I don't even want to consider Call of Duty being a good game anymore, so that's not nothing to worry about. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. As I said, nothing really springs to mind at the moment, which is a bit of a shame, because, you know, as a content creator... Oh, Planet Zoo might be this year, thinking about it, later this year. September, I think the trailer said. I'll need to rewatch that and find out. That might be interesting. I might even do a series on that. Because zoo games aren't really my forte, but I did have a lot of fun playing the old Zoo Tycoon games. I did buy the remake that Frontier did, however long ago that was now, 4 or 5 years ago. Never really got into it, but I wasn't its target market, so I can kind of understand that. Okay. So this set of tracks is just going to run straight across here. And yes, I am just bulldozing stuff now, because I really want to get this bit done, because the next bit is going to take up the bulk of this stream. I can tell you that already. But I'm still not going to give too much away on that right now, because I want you guys to stick around and find out for yourselves. Oh, it's Transport Fever 2 this year. I don't know what to make of that, because they have sort of marketed it as fixing all of the problems that Transport Fever had, but then they marketed Transport Fever as fixing all of the problems that Train Fever had. So I'm not a big fan of marketing games as fixing the problems with your old games, because it's kind of a slap in the face to the fan base that have spent a lot of money on that game, and then they have to spend even more money. You're basically charging people to fix your game. That's what's going on there. I'm not a fan of that. Again, speaking as part of a games developer, it's something that I wouldn't want XVI to do. And, you know, from speaking to the guys about it, it's something that sounds like they don't want to do either. So, we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. Oh, that's already flat. Now here, it's going to be a lot of level crossings. We're going to build a station in this gap here. Actually, does the land go up there? It does, but then it comes down again. I'm just going to bulldoze all of this. I'm not really sure what kind of game I'm looking for this year. I'm hosting a podcast with XVI just after E3, and we're going to talk about some of the games that are announced there. And I'm kind of in this limbo mode right now, where it used to be I would look for games that I would want to play on the M4J channel, whereas now it's kind of I just want to look for games that I can play with my friends as well. So I'm kind of stuck. I'm not really sure what I'm looking for. I've become one of those people that doesn't really know what they want, but knows when they've not got it. Should we turn that into a river? That'd be quite nice. There's too many industries here. I don't like demolishing industries, but I also don't like having like 20 industries right next to each other, because that might have been realistic back in the day, but not so much now. But here's a question for the audience. What kind of games are you looking forward to this year? I'm turning into a podcast host on my own channel now, but there we go. Has anyone here also watched the XVI podcast yet, or listened to it? I'm thinking of putting it on something like SoundCloud as well, so that if you can't watch it, you can listen to it instead. I'm not sure how that'll work with the Minecraft one, but the other ones are all basically audio podcasts, so... I'll let that one stew for a bit. Right, that's the first connection done. Now we've got to do this side. Again, this side shouldn't be too difficult. Like, it's basically already been done for us. I did do a lot of future-proofing when I designed this this rebuild to Woolworth, because I kind of knew that there would be some form of junction coming in from this side. I just wasn't 100% sure what it was going to be for. There we go. And this side, yeah, was already done. Again, nice bit of future-proofing. So here, I'm going to run the track at the same level as these waypoints, so that I can use these waypoints. Well, not use those waypoints, but use... like, put the waypoints in the same place in relation to the junction, so they're say a number of tiles away. And then over here somewhere, where it branches off, that'll be when I make it curve. So actually here would be a good place to do that, and it does mean a little bit more demolition going on. Good evening, Floofy Woofles. Very interesting name you have there. Transport Fever 2, looking forward to, and of course Planet Zoo and City Skylines expansion pack. I guess we're at a crossroads at the moment. Like, there's no new companies entering the game, as it were. It's the same people doing similar games. Like Planet Zoo is obviously going to be very different to Planet Coaster, but at the same time is going to be a well, I think they're using the Cobra engine again for a start, so it's the same engine, same style, same people working on it really. So everything is going to be heavily inspired by or a direct descendant of Planet Coaster. And again, I'm not saying that that is a bad thing. I think that is a good thing when done right, and Frontier do have a good track record, so I'm not worried about that. But at the same time, I am kind of looking for someone different to get involved and do their take on a like a train simulator type game. Because even with Train Simulator, there's nothing really new and interesting going on. It's all just DLC for an existing game. And it does get a little bit tiresome after a while. But again, I'm not criticising. I think that's important to state. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be doing it, because at the end of the day, they're very good at what they do. So, like I said, Frontier especially, any game made by Frontier is in good hands. But it does get a bit... I guess monopoly is the right word. You end up with just the same companies doing the same things over and over again. And it does go a little bit stale after a while. But yeah, I'm being very negative tonight. I don't know why. Just one of those moods, I guess. Plus, I'm doing a rather monotonous building job right now, so there's that as well. If I do that... oh no, that's fine. There we go. And then connect these up. And in terms of track laying, we're pretty much done. Floofy, if you're still here, what games are you looking forward to this year? We've already talked about Planet Zoo, we've talked about City Skylines, Transport Fever 2. Anything else that's been... Oh, I did mention Call of Duty, but we won't dwell on that. Let's just quickly convert these to this type of signal. I've actually been experimenting with a new way of signalling, particularly at the major Guard City terminus stations. I've been putting signals closer together when leaving Guard City so that we can try and get more trains out in the same space of time. So I'll be interested to see how if that experiment worked or not. I'm not getting too excited about it just yet. Oh wow, that lined up perfectly. I'd love to say that was deliberate, but I can assure you it wasn't. Okay. There's one add-on that I really want Lieutenant Joker to add to this version of the game. I don't know why I stopped talking then. There's one patch that I want added to this version of the game, which is the scheduled dispatch, because I've seen other people use it and it looks really, really good, and it fits perfectly with what I'm doing with the M4J network in terms of having trains have an actual schedule rather than just, because currently they're only separated, like a train leaves every hour, but I don't have control over what time during the hour that is. So like if I want a train to leave at 10:05, I can't say leave at 10:05. I can only say one train on this schedule leave an hour, and then the game decides itself what time that's going to be. And even then, it's not actually doing a very good job at the moment because trains are heavily bunched up. I think it's got to do with the conditional orders though, so that's kind of my fault. But I would like to be able to fix that. I think scheduled dispatch would be a very good way of doing that, because I think with that it does in fact take into account conditional orders, or at least it makes sure that a train is where it needs to be at the time that it needs to be there. Someone will probably correct me on that if I am wrong, or even if I'm right, someone tries to correct me. Limited hardware. Yes. That's the problem that a lot of people have these days, which is quite unfortunate. It's one of the reasons I love OpenTTD, is you can literally play it on any machine. I said this in the XVI podcast, which I strongly urge you to check out if you haven't done so. Plug. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah, one of the reasons I love OpenTTD so much is every PC I've ever owned has OpenTTD installed on it. It's just so easy to run. Yeah, it's just so easy to run. It's such a well-made game. It's so much fun to play, but it's also so simple. There's no complicated gameplay elements or anything like that. It is very, very simple to play. Of course, once you start adding new GRFs, like I've done, then it does get a little more complicated. But even then, it's of my own design. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then one there and one there. I'm going to assume the top speed here is going to be 75. It might even be 65, in which case we need 2 waypoints here plus the station. But I'll do that anyway. And then over here, the speed limit is going to be 30. So I think I'll just follow what I've already built. Except I was a dum-dum. Oh no, that's 3 apart. Oh, I know why. Yeah, that's fine. Because it was to mirror everything that's going on here. Alright, I'll just check in my notes to make sure that I have done everything that I want to do with this line. So we can start adding stations in. That was a bit laggy. That's the other problem. And again, it's not the game, it's because I've added so much stuff, plus I'm playing on a huge map, plus I'm playing on a laptop that hasn't been restarted for a few days. You do end up with the game running a little bit sluggish. Let's see. 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to go with the rather simple island platform designs for these stations. I zoomed in too far. There we go. So here, we're probably going to have steps coming down from a bridge. Maybe there. Actually, that's probably not going to work. There. 1, 2, sign, bench, planter. So you're going to be Huntfield West. This one over here is Slanting Head. Up here, we're going to have a station here, which is probably going to be on a level crossing. Let's build it there. You're going to be, what, Drenningpool Falls North? Yeah, we're going to rename you. 2, 3, 4, and 5. No shelters here, actually, so I might build a shelter there. And then here, we're going to have steps down from the bridge, even though it's a major-ish station. And we're going to have shelters at this end. And you're also going to get renamed. And I think on the east side... yeah, I think on the east side we're not going to have another station. On the west side we're going to have one down here at Nadham, which is going to go in this gap. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, good stuff. And then you connect up to Wyworth. So you're going to be renamed just Nadham. You're going to be renamed just Radington. You're going to be renamed just Drenningpool Falls. And you're going to be renamed just Huntfield. You're already Slanting Head, and you're Fort Flonwood Central. I do feel like we need some extra platforms here for this. But at the same time, I don't really want to rebuild the station any more than I've already done. This is the point where I plug Patreon. So, if you're looking at one of these lines and thinking, I like the look of that, I'd like to put my name on it, or I'd like to put a name of my choosing on it, you are able to do so. You have to support me on Patreon though, which is normally the bit where people switch off and run away. But it's anywhere between $1 and $25 per month. There's different tier levels depending on what kind of rewards you want. I think it's $10 a month before you can start naming lines. I really should have memorized all of this information by now, but I haven't, so I apologize for that. But you have to support for 3 consecutive months, and then you get an email from me with your tier rewards, and then you can choose as many of those rewards as you like. However, if you do end your pledge for whatever reason, because some people do have to end their pledge, and that's perfectly understandable, you will excuse me, choking on air again. You will also lose your tier rewards. So at the end of that month, so on the 1st of the month, if you decide you don't want to support me anymore, you end your pledge there, and then for the next however many days till the end of the month, your tier rewards will remain in place, but at the end of that month, the names will revert back to what they originally were. So for example, the Guard City Great Western line, if you want to call it Great Western Excelsior or something like that, you're more than welcome to do so, but at the end of your rewards, it will revert back to Guard City Great Western. You can support me for as many months as you like, or as many months as you can. Good evening, Kurt. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, there's no limit on maximum number of months, but there is a minimum of 3 months, unless you are a return patron, in which case you will need to support me for 2 months. And I do keep track of who's supported me in the past, so you don't need to worry about having to remind me that you have once supported me before. But yeah, you can name or rename routes, whether it's a short, medium, or long mainline route. You can also name or rename a franchise. So again, as an example, since we're here, the Great Western franchise, you can rename it within reason to whatever you want. And you also get to name or rename 3 areas of Bar City. Those areas of Bar City will remain what you've named them even when your tier rewards end, though, because it's a big job renaming areas of cities, because you have to rename all the stations and things like that. So I won't worry too much about that. Plus Bar City's new, so there's more areas that people can name. So yeah, all good. We've built this new line. I have no idea what it's going to be called. Probably the Woolworth Fort Flonwood joint or something like that. But that now means we can run through services between the Great Western and the Western Reaches South routes, beyond Plindham Junction, because we do technically have a connection over here, because the Great Western snakes down this way and connects up just before Peddingbury. But the Western Reaches is where we're going to continue with, because the second route we're building today is from Guard City St Michael down to Fort Flonwood. But we're still not building Fort Flonwood Parkway. That is a separate thing. It's nothing to do with Patreon. But if you want to submit a design for Fort Flonwood Parkway, you are free to do so. Head over to my Reddit, and you'll find a post on Fort Flonwood Parkway. I'll put a new one up there in the next few days if I remember, with my design. Don't just copy my design and try and submit it as your own, because I'd like to think we're all smarter than that. But you will be able to submit your own designs for that station, and the best winner or winners will be selected, and that design will be taken forward and actually used. So 1 design per person, I should point that out, because in the past we've had more than 1 design per person and it's not ended well. So 1 design per person, and have fun with it. Design it however you like. It's a 30 by 30 area, and there is a criteria. Again, I'll submit my design up on there again so you can see the guide, because it's easier to look at the design that I've drawn rather than me trying to describe it, because I don't do a very good job of that. But yeah, good luck. It should be a lot of fun. What am I doing with this? I think I'm going to join you up over there. This is going to be an interchange station, but only on the slow lines for the Western Reaches South, which is kind of why I'm dithering with it slightly. Let me go into normal rail again for a second. I'm going to rebuild this set of platforms as well to match the overground. And then the new Western Reaches platforms are going to match all of this as well. So let's see. 4, 5, and let's go with the planter because it's nice. There we go. And then if I go into electrified and build these new platforms, I was about to say something else and I've completely forgotten what it was. Something to do with this station being an interchange station, but only on the slow lines. So it's probably going to be like the fast lines will just divert to the north. Originally this was going to be an interchange for all lines on the western reaches. Then I realised that actually we're really close to Guard City still. So for example, Wenfingfield is directly north of Great Winston Airport. Great Winfield Airport, and we're way east of that. We're probably halfway between Guard City and Great Winfield Airport here, so it didn't really make much sense to build a major interchange. So we've kind of moved things around a little bit, changed the design. Let's see, if I build that there and then here, do this, that actually works quite nicely. My phone's been buzzing and it sounded like Patreon. I'll have to check that in a minute. Yeah, I'll check that in a second. Be really nice to get some new patrons actually, because as well as my subscriber goal for this year, I do have some other targets that I would like to hit. This is going to be a weird design actually, but what I want to do, particularly these northern tracks, is run them down here a little bit more. So this line is going to end up there, and then this one is actually, yeah, I'm just going to run it as I was before, but put an extra crossover there, and then we'll sort that out in a second. So you're going to connect there, you're going to connect there like that, and then this one's going to connect here, and then this one's going to connect like that, I think. I mean, it works. It does work. Might do that though. That works quite well. Okay, and then the fast lines are going to run across the north side like that. These are going to connect, build some nice looking viaducts. We are going to dent this lake slightly. There we go, and also there, and just flatten that, just so I can build some waypoints here. You're going to be tide arch bridges, so we can go the full, actually viaducts, why not? More modern viaducts. These bridges here are finally going to get replaced with just flat track, and then this is going to come right out like this and run south, and then these are going to come across like this and then join up with the fast lines again, and then these lines here, they're going to run in a small cutting for a little bit, just so I can do the waypoints. So something like that, and then I think we're going to run into some tunnels and emerge. Well, actually, I think we're going to go up a level, then run into some tunnels, and then swing around and above here, and then through this area. Now, it does currently run this way and then turn west, but I do remember thinking at one point that we just continue running south here until we get to this green area, then run west, and then curve south again to go through Dinstown. Did someone support me on Patreon, by the way? If you did in the chat, let me know, because might be able to do a little celebration or something. Yeah, let's raise this up. Alright, this station build actually went a lot better than I thought it would. So I'm quite pleased with that. I think that looks quite nice. As I said, no platforms on the fast lines, just the slow lines. This is a major interchange though, because it's Western reaches south, Great Western, and the Overground. And what I was going to do is this metro line, I was going to divert round via here as well. And then move Cheward Station further west, so I can sort this junction out a bit better. We'll have to see about that. So yeah, we need to run these lines in now. At this point, actually, I'm not a huge fan of all this being on the same level. I kind of want the Western Reaches lines to be raised up slightly. Just so I can bridge over stuff if necessary, like here for example. How are we doing for time? Oh, less than an hour. That's cool. Is the stream running okay for you guys? Let me change the output slightly. Ah, it was you, George. Okay. Welcome back. Probably not the best place to be saying this on a live stream, but the rules are still in place. Just so you're aware. And as I said, a patron can remove their pledge at their discretion. That's absolutely fine. I'm not a big fan of people removing them out of pettiness or spite. That's something that I don't particularly welcome. So again, just bear that in mind for the future. But yeah, welcome back. You will have to wait 2 months though before you can choose your franchises again and your names. And there will be a limit on amendments that you can make to your franchise once you've chosen it. We'll discuss those at the time though. I think with everyone's franchise there are going to be differences. I'm going to try and be as fair as possible with everyone, but particularly with some of the newer franchises like this Western Reaches South franchise, I already have quite a few plans for it, so I might veto a lot of people's suggestions if they choose this one, because I've got my own plans. That's not me saying I'm just taking your money and doing nothing. It's something that I will discuss with people on an individual basis, basically. Yeah, hopefully the stream's not buffering for you guys. I'm getting some error messages on YouTube. Let me know if it is in the chat and I'll see if I can fix it. I've lowered my bitrate slightly, so that should help. Right, it might look like I'm tearing a huge hole through this town, and in many ways I am. But I would rather build this here and then let the town grow back around it than build really weird, ugly bridges and then tear the town apart again trying to fix all that. But yeah, I think I've done a lot of self-plugging. Patreon, subscribing to the channel, of course, if you haven't done so already. Your name will appear on the screen if you do that, and you will appear in the credits at the end of the stream. But I'll only run the credits if enough people subscribe. And we need people to share the stream as well. That'd be nice. One man can only do so much and all that. What am I doing with this? Because I think this road... I'm going to just remove it for now and build it back again afterwards. Yeah, let's do the big push. We're really close to 1,000 subscribers now. We're really close. And I have said the last couple of weeks that videos will be coming back at a regular schedule. And then for various reasons that's not happened. I do have a whole load of Factorio videos ready to be uploaded. And I will, this weekend, upload those videos. And then schedule them for the next few weeks. Just so that there is some content going on the channel. The XVI podcast, this week's one, is going out tomorrow, and I'll be finishing the edit of that after I've finished this stream. Let's put some bridges here, actually. And the most exciting bit is there is no XVI podcast for next week. I'm doing the 5 weeks on, 1 week off policy, which means I'll have all of next week to record M4J stuff. So if there's any requests or anything like that, do let me know now, and we'll do our best to get that going. Stream was buffering, but it's not now. Alright, cool. I did get the error message and I turned down the bitrate as soon as I saw that, so hopefully that's fixed it. Alright, we are connected at the eastern end. So the fast lines are the 2 lines on top. So basically, for the Western Reaches station here, the fast lines come into the center and then all come across to the southern end of the site. The slow lines come in on the outsides. This one's fine because they just go up to the upper platforms. These ones here, they're probably going to cross over on the flat here, so I might add another flyover here. But the theory is supposed to be they run along the southern edge here and then up and underneath this bridge into the slow platforms at GSMI. I was considering joining GSP and GSMI into one station again, which does mean removing these buildings in the middle. I don't really want to do that though. I'm only going to do that if the platform capacity is really bad, and then you're kind of borrowing the platforms from one station to cover the other. But I'm going to try and avoid that as much as possible because it's not really a long-term solution. Alright, let's build these tunnels. So yeah, this is where we're kind of threading the eye of the needle slightly. Again though, I do have a plan. And it does involve a lot of demolition again. So if you are of a nervous disposition, look away now. But the idea is to have the fast lines go across that bridge, and then the slow lines go across a bridge here. We will have to have some waypoints to slow trains down for that curve. There's not a lot I can do about that though. And I know I'm big on realism in curves, but sometimes there's Morpeth boards in real life for a reason, let's put it that way. So here we're just going to have a generic viaduct. And here, actually can I? No, I can't really, can I? I was wondering if I can move the fast lines a bit further south, but it doesn't really fix the problem without damaging the lake, which I really don't want to do. So we're going to have a station here. I was going to see if I can connect it to the metro again, but I don't think we need to. I also think this is a little too close actually still to Little Priningwell. I'm going to try and keep stations further apart on this main line. Because it is supposed to be an express line at the end of the day. Consider this what the Great Central Railway would have been had it been quadrupled and electrified and not closed down in the crime of the century. I will not let that go. Alright. So this time we're going to move away from the traditional viaducts here. I guess trusses for these ones, and then conventional modern viaducts for these ones. I guess that's fine. And then here, and then we'll raise this one up again. So yeah, trains are going to run quite fast through here. Probably at the full 160 on the fast lines. Put the concrete bridges there, and we'll put the girders. Shall we go with this girder? We might even build a station. Actually, this is the metro again. I might build a station here. So we'll remove that again, and then we'll build this up like so. Where am I supposed to be going? Okay, yeah, so this is the bit where we run straight south. Okay, how's the chat? Very quiet. Feel free to ask questions, guys. I'm not going to bite your hand off. You can ask questions about M4J, you can ask questions about XVI, you can ask questions about railways, you can ask questions about other games that I play. That's absolutely fine. Go for it. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. This is the overground, and this is the metro. I'm going to build a station in the middle of this, which will require... Actually, it doesn't require anything. I'm going to build it like this. And then we'll build new metro stations and overground stations that connect to this as well. That'll work really nicely. So they're going to go on the east side. So there and here. Yeah, let's get this chat going. I hate quiet chats. As I've always said, I'd rather have 3 people in the stream and everyone talking than 300 people in the stream and no one saying a word. I did say that right, didn't I? 3 people in the stream and everyone talking. How do I plan my railways before doing these streams and videos? Good question. Some of it is... So the line I'm building now, the Western reaches south. I always wanted to build a new line out of GSMI. Right the way back, even halfway through the Majeffries network on this map. I wanted to do that. I wasn't happy with the Western Reaches North, or what is now the Western Reaches North. It used to just be called the Western Reaches. I wasn't happy with the way that it was supposed to be the direct link between the North and the South, so between Guard City and Sannington, all the way down to Sandy Central. The fact that you leave Guard City, you run west, then you run north, almost to the northwestern corner of the map, and then you turn south, it wasn't a very efficient way of building, so I always wanted to redo that. So this was a really good opportunity to do that. So the route, the actual planning of the route, even now you can see I've gone quite a bit off where the original plan was, but it's mostly just spitballing ideas. So I'll sit there and I think I really want a route to go between X and Y. How am I going to build that? And then it's using the planning tool and just having a look at real life examples and seeing how it's all done in the real world, and just little tips like that. Definitely, if you're an OpenTTD player and you're struggling with some of your designs, I do strongly suggest that you look at real-world examples. There's a lot of really good real-life examples out there. It makes me feel a lot better about my building style, seeing real-life examples. One of the examples was trying to snake my tracks through at Shoreham Junction. I didn't think I did a very good job of it until I looked at some of the junctions around London Bridge and East Croydon. Then I realised that actually I'd done a pretty good job of how they've built it. And then, like I said, I felt a lot better about my design. But yeah, some of it is planning, some of it is I make it up as I go along. It's all about finding that right balance. If you could do that, then you end up with something really good. Like here, I'm literally making up this design for these platforms at Dintown as I go along. All I know is I want there to be an interchange here at Dintown. So this is the line to Fort Flonwood Central. This is the Dintown branch of the Guard City to Fort Flonwood joint. And this is obviously the Western Reaches South that we're building now. And I always wanted them to join up at this point, or to have a connection at this point. I think that allows a 7 tile long. Yes, it does. Good stuff. Hopefully that answers your question. I do have a habit of going off on tangents, so if I've not answered your question, then give me a friendly nudge and I'll try again. Alright. This bit, things are going to get a bit messy. Oops, did not mean to do that. Yeah, things are going to get a bit messy here because we're going to be on the same level now. Another good planning tip that I have, and you'll see it, like if I zoom out, I've got all my plan lines turned on at the moment. So ignore this big box that you see here. This just marks out the Greater Guard City boundary. But if I keep zooming out, these are all lines and connections that I've planned, most of which have been built now. I can't remember. Oh, that's the one. Yeah, that's one in Port Falls down there. This one connects over at Great Winfield Airport. What's this one? I'm trying to remember what that one is. Oh, I think that's the Transrapid. No? High speed, maybe? Oh, no, I know what that one is. Yeah, that's the, yeah, there's New Way Hill City. So this is going to be part of the sort of Grand Central route. But it's also part of the Guard City Great Eastern franchise. So you can see all of these lines that I've drawn, particularly down in the east corner, like southeast corner. This is Bar City here, and these are all the lines that I've planned to connect Bar City up to the rest of the network. So this is the East Coast line that's not been built yet. There's a little coastal resort down here that's not been built yet, and all of these other connections. This is the Transrapid, this one here. I remember building that one. And I just go around and have a look at all the different connections that I want to add, and then I look at, like, should this be electrified, should it be third rail, should it be diesel, should it be maglev, Transrapid, or Rapid Transit, sorry, not Transrapid, that's the name of the brand. And then just go from there, really. Sometimes I wing it, sometimes I don't. That was a bit of lag. Over here you can see I've put some lines for when I replanned GSMA. I stuck to it in the most part, but not completely. I did alright. I did alright, considering. yeah, I just plan things out like that. Plus, if you go over to the episode plans, you'll see the ideas that I've had in the past that have been implemented. What I've not done is keep that up to date. So there's a few more plans. So next week's stream, for example, I've got some ideas already for what I want to do, but I've not committed to it yet. Like, I normally decide the day before when I'm streaming. When I'm making videos, I'll decide weeks in advance. But when I'm streaming, it's kind of what am I in the mood for. So this week, I wasn't really in the mood for putting down trains because I've been doing that for weeks on end now. I wanted to do something new and fresh. So I decided to build some new rail routes. The other reason is when I'm streaming, you guys can give me direct feedback. So if there's something that you want to see next week, for example, suggest it. Because the worst case scenario, I'll say not this week, but maybe sometime in the future. Best case scenario, I'll say, yeah, that's a really good idea, and I'll use it for next week's stream. So I am currently weighing up a few ideas for next week. Whether it's going to be adding trains to the network or something a little bit different. So if there's anything that you guys want to see me do, that's not what I wanted to do. If there's anything you guys want to see me do, feel free to suggest it. Also, again, head over to my Reddit and post your designs for Fort Flormwood Parkway, because we're building the route at the moment, but we're not building that station yet, because I do still feel like I've not really given people a fair chance to even know about it, never mind apply for it. So I will be active on Reddit, so check out the OpenTTD Reddit community this week as well, because I hopefully will remember to head over there and post about this design. Now again, I'm raising the track up on an embankment here, and it looks ugly as hell right now, but when it's done and the grass grows back, it should look a lot nicer. But yeah, if anyone has any other questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. Do I want to do this? Yeah, it won't let me do that. That's fine. I won't do dual electrified for that. I'll just bite the bullet and do it this way instead. Is this going to connect straight up? I think it is. Yeah, nice. I love it when a plan comes together. And this is electrified, so I can do the double hill and not feel as bad about it. There we go. Certain parts of Reddit, maybe, but all social media has its ups and downs. My Reddit community certainly is not a cesspool, I'll have you know. And if it is, it's dealt with almost immediately. I use Reddit because, in my opinion, YouTube is full of too many people that sort of just say what they want and don't really care about the consequences. It's like a deterrent. Is the reason I use Reddit for comments and things like that. It's like a deterrent, because I do feel like most negative people can't be bothered to go to a different website in order to leave deliberately negative feedback. So it just makes my life a lot easier. And if you go over to my channel, onto my videos, and see the Where I've Been video, it explains a lot better than I can right now why I'm not a big fan of the YouTube comments section at the moment. I do switch it on for certain videos when I have to, but a lot of the time I try to avoid it, because it's not a very nice place. I've never liked the comments of YouTube. It's probably the one thing that puts me off. And it's not like a section of the internet puts me off. That's not fair. Like, it's not YouTube's fault. It's the people that use it. Like I said, that video does a much better job of explaining it than I ever could right now. But yeah, if you don't use Reddit, that's fine. You can also tweet me. My Facebook page is another place to go to as well. Link should be in the description down below. Facebook was replaced by Reddit for a while, but I'm sort of using both at the moment. Why am I building this now? Oh yeah. We're almost done. We're almost done. And then we can start adding in the stations and stuff. So I think here, again, it'll look ugly to begin with, but it'll kind of make sense in the future. I'm going to keep this raised up. So let's say we have a bridge over the river there. So yeah, when the land drops down, I'm going to try and keep it raised up like this. But then when the land comes back up to join it, I'm just going to leave it flat. I'm not going to like raise the track up again. Otherwise that'd be a bit weird. The other thing I'll say about Reddit is it's a lot easier to share images on Reddit with a description in the comments than it is to do it on Twitter. Certainly a lot easier than it is to do it on YouTube, because like YouTube, it will always be a link to something like Flickr or Tumblr or Imgur, and my YouTube comments never allowed links to begin with. So I'm going to guess you've had some bad experiences with Reddit though. The other place, and again I need to pull my finger out my backside and get this done. I need to redo my website, because that'll be the go-to place in the future for uploading images. I'll need to get on with that, because I'm kind of holding off until I do the XVI site as well, because then I can sort of make both at the same time. Do I want a station here at Funningbury? I think I do, but I want it separate from the separate from this one, so no connection between the two. I'm just looking to see where a good place would be to do that, because I think if I lift this land up here and strip the town here, actually cut it back one or two more for this little section, whoops, here, and then lift all this land up like this, and we can have some viaducts like that, and we can have some truss bridges like this. That should work. The only thing I'm thinking is the platforms are going to be on the rightmost tracks, the easternmost, which is the furthest from the town. I tell you what, it's an honour to be mentioned in the same sentence as Zesty Husky, because I was a big fan of his channel. His videos way back when are actually the inspiration for my original series on OpenTTD. He was the first one, the sort of not quite realism in OpenTTD, because he did do a lot of stuff that wasn't that realistic. But he was the first one to sort of do a proper UK-based OpenTTD series. Master Hellish is another one, but I'm really not a fan of his building style, and I mean that with the greatest respect, but he just doesn't build in a way that I enjoy. It sounds like a really weird and random thing to say, but he's very much a plonk down 7 tracks in each direction and worry about your capacity, which works, and that's what OpenTTD is for a lot of people. But for me, it's not realistic, and I mean, I've hosted a whole podcast about realism in video games. I believe very strongly that realism in games is something that should not be looked down upon. So all of my series, I try to go for as realistic as possible. I do bend reality slightly, like clearly here I'm a transport company without a budget. I just build. I do still have money. This isn't unlimited money, but it's mostly like unlimited budget, I should say, rather than no budget. But yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Zest Husky. I think life just got in the way, which is a bit of a shame, because I was really enjoying his last series. Lieutenant Joker, or Lieutenant Joker, he does a good series. He posts fairly sporadically at the moment, but when he does post, it's good stuff. And he made the patch that I'm playing on right now, so I'll always give his channel a plug. And again, a link to his channel should also be in the description down below. I'm not that big into social media, I should say. At a personal level, I'm not that. I read social media. I very rarely post as myself. I do have a personal Twitter, which I'm not going to share at the moment because there's absolutely nothing on there worth reading. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. Facebook especially. There was a whole period of like 10 years. That was even that. It's only in the last year or so that I've started using Facebook again, because I rebooted my Facebook page, which I'm still not allowed to change the name of, by the way. I keep applying every now and then, and they're not budging. But yeah, Facebook was the worst one for me. I spent a long time away from Facebook. Problem with that is I did have a lot of people that actually followed my Facebook page, so that was the sort of kick up the backside to get it going again. Right, how close are we to destination? Pretty close. I can't remember what this line was for. I think that was before I designed the station. Right, I need to refer to my design. Because I need to remember how low these tracks need to come in from. So it's about, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 13 tiles from the top. Actually, bear with, 13 tiles from the top. Maybe 12. 12 tiles from the top. And that is the upmost track. And then there's a gap. Let's do the top 2 first. So approximately 12 tiles from the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So roughly there. Although I'm immediately going to bulldoze that. Level this site. 1, 2. And then refer to this again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, 4. Gap of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then like this, I think? Or was it like this? I think it's like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then these two. I think that's how it was supposed to go. Radeon for time, hour and a half. Nice, nice. Got ages. I might need ideas for what to do for the rest of this stream if we're finishing early. So feel free to leave some suggestions for that as well. Although, don't ask me to build Fort Flonwood Parkway, because I'm not going to do that. And these tracks here that I'm building now could be subject to change if another design comes along. But for those who weren't here last week, this is the site for Fort Flonwood Parkway. It is a major interchange on the network because it links 4 main lines together. So the western reach is southeast, which is this one here, southwest, which is going to come out this side. All 6 of these tracks head up to Fort Flonwood Central. They serve the Guard City to Fort Flonwood joint, both branches via Dintown and Tatham, as well as the line that we built at the start of this stream. The line to the south is... Whoops, where did I build that? There. This line here goes down towards Buntbourne Parkway, Buntbourne Town, and Cadingbury Junction. I think there was another one. There might even be another main line coming out of here in the end. We shall see. But yeah, it's a major interchange. So, out on the western side here, this line used to be the... Oh god, I've forgotten what it's called now. The Guard City to something joint railway it was. Now it's going to be the Fort Flonwood to something joint railway. Oh no, sorry, it's not. This is going to be the western reaches southwest. Goes through Sannington and then joins up with the main route again here, although this is going to become the main route and this is going to become the branch, if that makes sense at all. Yeah, let's get this all connected up and then we can start worrying about what we're doing next. So Fort Predham is going to have a station, but only on the tracks that go towards Fort Flonwood Central. So again, if you head over to my Reddit, can I post it on here quickly actually? Let's see, streaming. Let me see if I can just show you the design really quickly. Image, actually let's just add a new. Fort Flonwood Parkway design. Okay. And then if I fit it to screen and transition. So this is the design. What you're looking at now. So you can see all of the lines that come in from the east are part of the western reaches south. And then all the lines from the west head down towards the same. They're part of the western reaches west, southwest line, I should say. All the lines from the south do all link up as well, and then all the lines from the north all go towards Fort Flonwood Central. So it's a little convoluted and a little bit difficult to explain, but the key points, and again you can't really see my cursor right now so I can't really show you properly, but the key points are the east to west running platforms are the western reaches south platforms. The north to south ones, they're different, we don't need to worry about those, although the easternmost are technically part of the western reaches south as well, but I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. So we're doing the east to west running lines, the connections there, which is why it has to be done right. Because if we mess up the alignment, then not good. But this is my design. Chances are, and I hope this is the case. Oh, the music turned off when I did that. That's annoying. I I am hoping that someone else comes up with a better design than me, because I would much rather use someone else's design than my own, particularly in something where I've said anyone can design an idea for it. So yeah, Fort Predham, that was the point I was making. There are going to be platforms at Fort Predham, but not on the main running lines. So we can sort of extend this out a little bit more. I'm going to try my hardest to not cut straight through the middle of the town. Have we transitioned? Yep. You guys should be seeing OpenTTD again. Let me know if you're not. I always sound like... Whoops. Alright, we have torn straight through the middle of the city. I always sound like I don't know what I'm talking about in these streams. I've noticed that a lot. Particularly with the podcasts as well. I and ah a lot. And that's not really like me at all. Actually, umming and ahhing is like me. I do that a lot. But the sort of drifting off on a tangent kind of thing, I think it's because I'm trying to think clearly what I'm trying to say. And even now I'm doing a really terrible job of explaining what I'm actually thinking. And I do just tail off. And then I realise I've not said anything for ages and I should probably say something again. Yeah, I think I try too hard when I'm streaming. And when I host a podcast as well, I do it a lot. It's just one of those annoying habits I have, I suppose. I do remember someone commented, this is way back when, right at the start of my channel. Someone actually had the cheek to comment on one of my videos saying, it's something like good content, but you say "ah" too much. Like I put him off watching my videos because I say and "ah" too much for his liking. And with people like that, I tend to just say, well, thanks for watching, there's plenty of other channels, go watch them instead. It's like I said, I don't like the YouTube comment section because there's too many people out there that think they're Spielberg and they're really not. Too many people that think they can edit videos when they've never seen editing software in their life. And it's not just you go on Movie Maker and you make your voice sound a bit different or whatever. There's a lot more to it than that. I'm just debating. I kind of want there to be like a signature landmark here, and I'm thinking a bridge, like a too-high bridge that runs across like that. How do I get that so wrong? Okay. Cantilever? I wish it was the red design, but this is quite fancy still. But yeah, there's a toxic community for you. YouTube comments. It's just full of people that think they're smarter than you. I have a degree, by the way. I'm not an idiot. I know my stuff. I didn't get a first. I nearly got a first. And I'll probably never live that down. But I have a degree in media, so I do know what I'm doing, believe it or not. Anyway, I don't need to justify myself to you guys because you've not said anything. This is more a statement to anyone who does still watch my videos who's criticised me in the past because the audio's been slightly out of sync or whatever. Really petty, stupid things that don't matter. Or people that just have to be right about everything. Right, we're nearly connected. Which is good, because it means I can stop ranting for a bit. And again, the land slopes down here, so I am going to lift this up. Although I'm not going to do it like that. I'm going to keep it with the two middle bits, like this. These ones I might have to do a little bit more like that. There we go. Like that, like that, like this, and like this. So yeah, anyone has any ideas for what we could do for the last bit of the stream? Whether you want a tour of the network or whether you want me to build something really quickly, as long as it takes us up to or around the 2-hour mark, I'm happy to do it. If it's another like hour-long project, then I can't do that. That's not feasible. But anything that's sort of an easy thing to do. Actually, instead of doing that, let's extend this bridge by a tile. Let's also flatten this. Oh, League 2 playoff match is finished. Arsenal are 3-2 up. I've not really been watching the football. I've been so caught up in doing this. I'm actually tempted to do that for that section, and then this section, the 100-mile-an-hour one. Because the way I see this is the history of this route would have been it was originally 2-track, and then when they modernized it, they added 2 more tracks. I need this to actually be 1 shorter or 1 longer. I might go with 1 shorter. Yeah, when they modernized it, they added an extra track. Sorry, they added an extra 2 tracks, which is why you've got like 2 old-looking bridges alongside 2 more modern-looking bridges. That's how I explain that. Yeah, if I do that, it removes this stupid 1 tile bit in the middle. There we go. That actually looks pretty damn cool. Episode 6. What of the Majeffries network or the M4J network? I mean, I'm not denying that the audio is out of sync on a lot of my videos. That it definitely was. I guess the point I'm making with that is, if you guys are annoyed by that, then think how I feel when I've spent hours working on a video like that, and then that, you know, there's a mistake in it. To put it bluntly, it's not a nice feeling, and I don't need reminding of it constantly, which is why I don't like it when people who, like I said, people who have no video editing experience at all, but feel the need to critique my videos like they're film critics. It's just not necessary. I think I messed that up. Oh, trying to reach the control key. Alright, cool. So I used to have a policy on my channel, which I am tempted to go back to, but no one's commented saying negative things. I mean, it's not really gone away. Like I say, it's just because people haven't been able to comment that I believe the negativity has stopped. But I used to have a policy of, if you kept criticising for things like that, you would get banned or blocked. And the only way to unblock yourself was to make a video to your high standards within 24 hours, which used to be my time frame. It's actually less than that now to get videos planned, recorded, edited, rendered and uploaded. I try and do all that within 24 hours. But as I said in the Where I've Been video, these episodes, particularly the episodes of the M4J network, used to take upwards of 20 hours to produce. So it gives you a fair idea as to why I used to get pretty ticked off when people would just constantly criticise with nothing to back up their criticism. So I did ban one person, and they did have 24 hours to make a video, and I did check after that time window and nothing had appeared on their channel, so they remain banned. Oh, programming. I have a lot of respect for people that can just program something without getting stressed, because I can't. Me and programming do not get on. Particularly when I was coding my website, so much went wrong. Trying to get a nav bar centered. Kurt, if he's still in the chat, can back me up on this. Trying to get the menu bar centered on my website, which if you go there now, you can see it's clearly not centered. But because one screen I was using had a certain resolution, and then I switched to a different computer which had another resolution, I could never get them both to work. And it was one of the most frustrating experiences of my life, I would say. The fact that it wouldn't work. But then what can you do? I'm actually spotting a problem if I do that. I think too many trains will try and... like, trains coming in here up to these platforms... Actually, no, maybe not. No, yeah, they will, they will. I'll put it there instead. Actually, no, that's not going to work either. I'll just leave it like that. That's fine. It's just me being indecisive. Don't mind that. I've designed probably about 7 or 8 websites over the years, many of which I've sort of walked away from because it just wasn't working how I wanted it to. Like my website, if you go on m4jmedia.com right now, first of all you have to type in www. The first time you visit it, and the HTTP and all that stuff, because something to do with the server that was hosting it was being a bit funny. But once you get on there, you'll see so many features that I really wanted to get working that just don't work for whatever reason. Most of which is to do with time constraints, because I was doing it for a uni project, so it had to be finished in a certain amount of time. But the rest of it is purely because it just wouldn't work on Dreamweaver. Trying to code in HTML, absolute nightmare. So like I said, I have a lot of respect for programmers. Always have done. Probably always will do as well, because I know it's not easy. Right, I think this route is fully signalled now. I think it's fully signalled. So we've just got to build the stations, and there aren't going to be many. So we're going to start at this end of things. So coming out of GSMI, I think we are going to have a station probably here on the slow lines, just the other side of this bridge, which I might end up extending actually, but we'll build it here. So 1, 2, where are the benches? 3, 4, 5 and 6. Then we've got the interchange here, so no platforms there. Then there's the one that's going to go here, and actually these signals need moving, which is, I hate doing that because it messes up the rhythm, but I suppose if I mess it up on both sides it might cancel each other out. So I'm going to build this as a station first, and then when I build the metro and overground stations, I'll connect those up to this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then some stairs for 5, and then a plant barge for 6. Dreamweaver's great when it works. Like, all the tutorials that I used were out of date, so they didn't work. And that is incredibly frustrating when that happens, because there's literally nothing that you can do apart from, like, teach yourself basic coding. So I kind of wish I had done. I'm going to build the shelters in the center here. I'm going to do it like this. Oh, there's a signal there. Of course there is. Let's move that one there. Hopefully there isn't one there. Nope, good. But I enjoyed coding my website at the beginning because everything worked. But once it stopped working, it became very frustrating very quickly. And at that point, just everything fell apart. And like I said, it was a uni project, so I had to just submit it how it was. I still, to this day, it was over a year ago now, I still don't know what grade I got for that website. And it's not because they sent it to me and I haven't checked. I waited for it. They never sent me it. So I have no idea what grade I got. I don't want to speak bad of my uni, because it's a good uni, but at the same time, bloody hell, they need to up their game when it came to sending out grades to students. Alright, so that's that station built. And I think... yeah, that is the last station. So Fort Predham, I will rebuild that, because that is bad that I did that. I let go of control before I let go of the cursor, the left mouse. That's why that happened. But yeah, there aren't that many stations along this route. The idea is to get people from A to B as quickly as possible. 160 miles an hour is the speed limit on the fast lines. 110, I think, is the speed limit on the slow lines. Maybe 125. Can't remember off the top of my head. I will put some waypoints down. So one there, and one there. And actually, instead of just guessing, I should probably work this out. So 160, let's say they don't get to 160 until this point. So from 160 in, let's say 90 is probably the limit here. And maybe 60 on this curve here. So from 100 down to 60, I need 90, 80, so I do need 4. So I can do that here. So 1, leave a gap, 2, leave a gap, 3, leave a gap, and 4. Going back to web design again quickly, I think actually game design is something I would enjoy more than web design. So at least with game design, it's kind of more, what's the word I'm looking for? More freelance. You have like more freedom because you're coding more from scratch. Whereas with Dreamweaver, there's like a monitor size that you have to have your website fit, and then everything is coded around that. If that makes sense. Probably doesn't. So what did I say the speed limit was here? 90 around that bend. Let's say that 120 is the speed limit out of GSMI as far as here. So is it 90, 100, 110, 120? So that works fine. I think here I'll leave the speed limit at 60 going into this station, and then coming out again. 70, 80, 90. That works. And then this side, 70, 80, 90, 100. That's fine. And then on the fast lines, it'll be 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, and 160. And then that'll be it as far as Fort Flormond Parkway. So if it's 120 coming out of here, I think 20 is the speed limit going in and out of these stations. these platforms? Yeah. So it'll be 20, 30, 40, and then I've got to get it up to 120, sorry, from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 50, 60, 70, 80, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. I'm annoyed that that signal's in the way. Actually, I'm going to move these all over one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110 and 120. Now this area, I do want it to get quite built up again, so I might end up having to build, so instead of here sloping down, I might have to slope it down over here. Actually, should I do that now? Yeah, because these HLR stations are just sitting out in the middle of nowhere at the moment, and I do actually want them to be part of a built up area. So I'm probably going to build a new town here, which would mean, so let's do that, and then here that can be a road. Let me just do this. Sorry for dithering and constantly changing my mind on everything. How are we doing now for time? We've got 5 minutes left for the 2 hours. I did, there was one module in my first year that was to do with game design, and there was a module in my second year to do with hypercomics, and I hate that word now so much because of that module. For those of you that don't know, hypercomics are comic books. They're like flash games, basically. So it's a comic book where you make choices as you go through. It's not quite as detailed as a visual novel. There's slightly more to it in a visual novel than there is in a hypercomic, but I don't like hypercomics. I didn't like them before. I certainly don't like them now. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There. One. So 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, and then 120. Like so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're, what, 50, 60. Is there really a signal there? Let's try that again. I did do flash games in my first year as well. That's where I was going with that. 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. And again, I'm not going to name all these waypoints just now. I'm literally just going to place them. Okay, that is the Western Reaches South Phase 1 complete, plus stations and all that good stuff. So you get an idea now as to where this newest trunk route is going to go. And actually, once we get through Fort Flormwood Parkway, Phase 2 is just to connect it up to this, which will be over here. So it'll almost be a straight line through the site there. And then Phase 3 is going to be upgrading all of this section to the Realism Initiative standards. If you don't know what the Realism Initiative is, check out the last few episodes of the Jeffries Network and you'll be able to find out. Right, we haven't got that much time left for this week's stream. So if you have any more questions, now is the best time to ask them, or statements, or anything like that. Thank you for watching, Floofy Woofles. I will see you next week, hopefully, if you're available. If not, at some point in the future, definitely. But since George asked for a tour of the network, I can't do that in the couple of minutes that we've got left. But what I can do is ride on board one of these trains. Let's do this one. So probably just do this actually. Actually no, I'll leave that as it was. And we're going to ride this train back to the depot at Moningpool Falls. So let me save the game before I do anything else. This would be a really bad time for things to crash. I'm not even going to tab out the game while it's doing this. I'm just going to let it go. So this is a ride on the Western Reaches North Line between Guard City St Michael and Moningpool Falls. Hopefully this train is actually heading back to the depot. I'll check that before we continue with this. Oh, please save. Alright, no questions. So we're just going to ride the train. I don't know what this is doing. Being really slow. Let's just check the orders. Are you running back? Oh good, it's finished sailing. To your depot. Yes you are. Good stuff. In that case, yes. We're going to hop on board. I won't do that much commentary. I'll just tell you where we are and where we're going through and things like that. There's a lot of rumbling diesels. You can't hear this, but I can hear it in my ear. A lot of rumbling diesels. So yeah, the speed limits at these stations are very slow in comparison to other parts of the network, but it is realistic. So that is something that I hold very close pride in. I don't know where I was going with that sentence. Mainly I was just thinking of something. The overground line that you can see here that runs across these two bridges over the throats of both stations, I keep having an idea to move them and to actually have an overground station at GSP and GSMI rather than just the current one at GSP, mainly because the station at Guard City St Peter is too far away from the rest of the station, so I'm almost tempted to just not make that GSP anymore and have a connection somewhere else instead. We'll have to see about that. Let me know if the stream is running really slow for you guys as well. This is buffering a little bit, but I think it's because we're running slow. Because that train that's approaching is running quite smooth. So this waypoint here takes us back up to 30. And then the next waypoint to 40. And then we'll start rising up speed limit wise. But yeah, good productive stream. I do still need ideas for next week, so if you don't have any questions, George, you can at least suggest something for next week's stream. I'm almost tempted to move away from Guard City for a bit. We've kind of toyed with that in the past, so we've done the rebuilding of the Transrapid line. We've also done the Grand Central. What was it? The Grand? I think it's just called the Grand Canal, actually. But both of those did end up in Guard City again, so it's kind of hard to avoid. Yeah, I'm looking for ideas from the audience as well, because I do like it when people get involved and leave suggestions. I just turned off comments on YouTube for the reasons I've already stated. Right, come on train. We're almost at the right speed now. It's always slow coming in and out of these stations. This is why it takes so long when I do the timetabling for all of these trains. A lot of it is spent either waiting for the train at the terminus stations to see out its wait time, or waiting for it to arrive or leave Did you build the line from Bar City to Rennington? Not yet. I've planned it. I know which one you mean. I don't think it was running from... Oh no, it was running from Bar City, wasn't it? Yeah, I've planned it. I haven't built it yet. We could do that then. Problem with that is... Actually, no, I suppose it could work. I was going to say there aren't enough connections along the way with other lines, but... it doesn't mean that we can't at least do it. Yeah, I can have another look at that for next week, definitely. That's no problem. I did want a stream at some point where I'm adding trains to the network, but it's not the easiest thing to do as a stream. It's not the most interesting thing. So a lot of it is just me clicking, going, and then the train stops here, and here, and here, and here, and so on and so forth. That's kind of why I've done it all as time-lapse videos before now. Because it's like 4 hours of footage sometimes I've had to cut down. So it's difficult to do it as a stream. But the Overground, Guard City Overground, and I know I just said I wanted to get away from Guard City, but the Guard City Overground, the routes are relatively short, or there's a lot of stuff going on, so I can say, you know, we stop here and we connect with this line. Likewise, the Metro is something that I've not even done the speed limit sheets for yet. The HLR is the only sort of Metro style service that we've got in Guard City right now. And actually, I'm a bit worried that this line's quite overgrown. I am going to build a new HLR depot, maybe even connect it with the overground depot near Slensden, because I think we've got too many trains entering and leaving that one depot, and it's messing up the timetabling a lot. So we've got nowhere near enough services actually operating on the lines that they should be operating on. This train should be running a lot faster right now. Like, the smoothness is really bad. Encoding overload. It's telling me to use a... Whoops. God, I've not messed up the stream doing that. Turned off studio mode by mistake. I've got to remember where the settings are for this. Where is it? Advanced? No, there's like a... Here I am changing my... We're literally ending the stream soon. But it is running like a slideshow at the moment, isn't it? How about that? Is that helping? Now, I think I might have to abandon this plan of following this train, because it's going to take hours at this rate. Then we have to end it here. So, if I pause, future stream ideas. One will be adding the overground trains. I have, if you head over to the service schedule sheet, you'll see that I have planned some of them out. Particularly the one this way. I was trying to remember the name of the station. Which way is it? This way. All the way up through here to Bunhattan. That's the one. I've also planned out like a looping service. So we've got the main circle loop. I won't do that in case you're motion sick. I've also planned out another loop service that comes down... Oh god, the lag is real. Down here to the airport at Great Winfield, and then loops back. Actually, let me check that one for reference, because service schedules. So if I go Guard City Overground, so the one we've got is the loop from Guard City to Guard City via all of the main stations in the middle of the city. The next one we've got is GSC out to Bunhattan, so Guard City St Christopher out to Bunhattan. The next one we've got is Guard City St Christopher to Plinhill, which is here. Then I've got Guard City St Thomas to Slanningwell West, which is all the way over here. It's kind of this weird area where the lines cross over a lot. So Slanningwell West is here. So yeah, I haven't actually planned out the one to the airport yet. I think Plyn Hill was the one. It might not loop. That's the thing. It might be the metro that loops and not the overground. I haven't decided yet. Because actually, I've got the... was it GST? Oh no, GSC to Plyn Hill. So I might do a GST. So that won't work. Oh no, it will work. I could do GSJ around this bit here, and then down this line here to Great Winfield Airport, and maybe even beyond. Could do that. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream here, guys. Next week, we are probably going to build that line. For those of you that are wondering, I keep saying I'm going to end it, and then I find something else to talk about. There's a main line here. This is the old Transrapid route, and I did plan it, yeah, here, to run down alongside here, all the way to a junction here, where it connects up to the main line into Bar City. That is still going to happen, but I might have to build it in stages like I've done tonight. So I think the first stage might be Bar City out to here, which is... I've forgotten the name of the station now. There's an airport here as well. Fort Bredborough Airport. The reason I'm going to do it to here is because the high-speed line is also going to come into here and then join up with the conventional line from here and run on the fast tracks there. So that'll actually work quite well. So we're going to do that next week. We're going to build out as far as here and build that junction. So until then, thank you very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Actually, no, sorry. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. And, of course, if you're enjoying the series. Drop some comments over on my Reddit community with ideas for future episodes, feedback, all that kind of good stuff. Besides that, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. Don't forget to share the channel as well. We are so nearly at 1,000 subs now. We only need 42 more subs. So please, please, please do that if you haven't done so already. My big thanks to Kurt, to Floofy Woofles, and to George De Silva for coming in and watching the stream and chatting. It's always nice, like I said, when people chat. And yep, until next week, guys, take care, and I will see you soon.